Hey, it's Rob Vanovermeire, and I'm really sorry for getting this market report out. But this is the market report for July, and wow, this is insane. What a month we've had. I mean, this has just been a complete roller coaster ride this year. When you take a look at how things started out in January, I mean, we're on a high. Everybody was optimistic. The market was looking like the strongest we were ever going to see in the last several years. And then all of a sudden, COVID hits, boom, and the roller coaster ride goes right down and nothing's happening. And everybody's wondering if, the whole real estate market's going to fall off a cliff. And then all of a sudden, June comes, things open up and the market starts taking off. And then, of course, it continued right into July. I mean, look at these numbers, 35% absorption rate. I mean, that's huge compared to where we were. I mean, look at April, we were at 12%. And now we've surged to 35%. Look at July in 2019, 26%. I mean, what an incredible number when you consider what we did in July last year. So people are coming into the market. Why? It's simple. Interest rates. I mean, who wouldn't take advantage of this? We're seeing interest rates below 2%. This is insane. I mean, this is the time to grab a hold and buy something, because if you do the math, I mean, even if the prices are the same, look at the impact the interest rates has on people's monthly payments. This is huge. You could buy a house 6 months ago and your mortgage payment was probably $300 a month higher. So this is really bringing people into the market, and it looks like it's going to continue. Now, just to give you an idea of prices, because people always want to know, well, if all these houses are selling, is the prices starting to rise? And the answer is yes, ever so slightly. Let's not get too excited about that yet. But, at this month at 485,800, if you look at July of last year, just looking at the month of July, we are slightly better at 2.32%. This is an indication that prices could be starting to actually rise. I mean, who would have thought that? The naysayers, even if you talk to the naysayers now, they still think the real estate market's going to go down. But low interest rates are a huge factor. And I don't think the naysayers just really understand the impact of low interest rates on getting people to come into the market. You got to remember, the moment that people realize that their rent is actually higher than they could own, that's kind of an aha moment, and you start getting into the market. And that's exactly what's happening right now. And I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. Now, let's not get overly excited on prices, though, because if you look at year over year, I mean, it has been a roller coaster ride. So we did see some price softening right as COVID began. So we're still down 1.59%. If you look at year over year, I mean, 484,808 in 2019 up until year to date, we're at 477,114. Not bad considering what we've been through. Now, let's just look at a little more carefully what the numbers are. 1,171 properties sold with 3,289 listings. So we've got an interesting recipe here for success. Lower inventory than July last year and higher sales. That's just something that I wouldn't have guessed would have happened when the whole COVID thing started. So we're just gaining some good momentum, but amazingly enough, we're still low on inventory, and there's still people out there that maybe they were going to put their house on the market and they decided not to. So we're still low on inventory. The average days on market is sitting at about 49 days, which isn't too bad. And let's take a look at that market distribution, because I love looking at this chart. You can see now that we're still getting a large amount of houses selling, under $600,000, but this is incredible, because even 2 months ago, I mean, we didn't see 31% of the market between 500,000 and 600,000. So, this is becoming a very strong part of the market. The 400 to 500 just last month was actually dominating, all the sales. So now all of a sudden, all these people have come into this market, the 500 to 600, and it's even pushed up to $600,000 to $700,000 market, which is good. But, look at even as we, go up in all the prices, 5.18% of the market between 7 and 800, that million to 1,500,000. I always look at this one. I mean, this was hovering below 2% during COVID. Now we're up to almost 4% of the market. There's just been a tremendous amount of people that have come in and started buying these million to 1,500,000. But even here, 1.5 to 2 million, we've had 112 properties sell so far this year. We've had 55 properties sell between 2 million and 2.5. Look at this, 2.5 to 3 million. I mean, that's 2.43% of the market and 126 properties sold. We've even had 61 sell for over $3.5 million. So, all these people who are out there saying, oh, there's no money and there's all these jobs lost. I mean, I get it. There are people suffering, but, it's easy to overlook that the fact that there's high-end properties selling and lots of real estate moving. So I get it. It's bad for some people. And I'm really sorry to hear the people who have been greatly affected by COVID and who have lost their job and financially have had setbacks. But at the same time, there are many people who are in a position to take advantage of low interest rates and some of the price softening, and they are coming into the market. And that's generally what happens every time something like this goes on. The smart money is what we call it. They come in and save the market every time. They actually sit and wait for opportunity. And when the opportunity comes, they get into the market. And we're seeing that. Let's move into what's happening with attached properties. So you can see the absorption rate here also surged 24.83%. Not quite as high as June, though. June was really impressive at 27%, but we're still higher than July last year, which was at 20%. And if we move down here, just looking at the hard numbers, 403 sales out of 1,623. And again, that's significant between July of last year, which is 352. Inventory is reasonably close to what it was. I mean, 1,623 on the market compared to 1,709 from last year. So these are really good numbers. This is positive. And that means some of these infills have actually been selling. I've noticed it. Again, low interest rates, prices come down, good time for people to take advantage of it and get into that property that maybe you've been waiting for this opportunity for a year and now you're taking advantage. Now with the attached properties, we're still seeing, under 500,000 is the majority of the market. But the moment you get into, 500,000 plus, 600, look at these numbers are pretty positive because they were really, really bleak, during the whole COVID pandemic. So it's good to see that this is happening as well. But clearly, the detached homes are in the highest demand, and I think that'll continue. Now, here's the apartment condo market. We all know this has just been a bloodbath for quite a while. 15.38% absorption rate. So this still is not anything to write home about. I mean, at 15%, we're slightly down from a year ago, at 17.49%. But it's kind of sad that with the surgence of detached and attached properties, I'm sure that all the condo owners would have hoped that maybe the condo market, would have picked up as well. It has picked up. It just hasn't picked up at the level that probably a lot of condo owners would like to see. But keep in mind, look at April, 7%. I mean, we're definitely more than double of the absorption rate just from the whole pandemic thing in April. So it's positive. Here's the numbers. We're sitting at an average price here of $243,000 compared to $249,000 from a year ago. So, those are relatively positive numbers if you really think of what it could be, because this condo market has just continued to be like a slow leak for the last 5-6 years. At least it hasn't fallen off the cliff, but we still haven't, seems like at least we haven't hit bottom yet. And hopefully these low interest rates will bottom out, the apartment condo market, and we'll start to see that market starting to move a little bit better. This is where we've come from, right now at 243,000 compared to 2011 at 239. So, we're kind of touching on 2011 prices for condos. So not great. Hopefully, this will be the point where things will start to level off and we won't have to actually get right to the 2011 prices. 262 out of 1,703 have sold. That's still not as good as July last year. And we still have higher levels of inventory than last year. So again, it's an improvement from the whole COVID thing, but this still is a difficult market. But I will say this, if you are a buyer looking for a really good deal on a condo, they're out there. If you're selling condos, I will tell you, you're just going to have to really accept where the market is. But there are some things, as I always mention, that you could do to improve, the value of your property to a degree and try to attract a little bit better pricing. Market distribution, you can see 300 to 400,000. That is definitely an improvement in that price point. So some people got into there. But interestingly enough, 10% of the market now is under 200. There wasn't even a market 6 years ago for under 200. Now it's 10% of the market. So that just tells you where it is. But I think what's actually happening for the people that want to buy some of these condos, there's some investors out there that are picking up these bargains. And there's also, again, some first-time buyers that are saying, well, hey, if I could get something, pretty reasonable and it's around the same that I'm paying in rent, well, why not own? So I'm gonna leave you with this thought. As I've been working pretty hard the last couple of months, doing a lot of work with sellers especially, one thing that I have definitely noticed with the houses that we have taken the time to get ready to sell and paid attention to the details, painting where it was needed, fixing a few things where it was needed, cleaning it up, decluttering, doing some of the staging, taking those amazing HD photography, we have had great success at attracting buyers and getting these properties sold. I even took over a couple of listings that weren't selling with another agent, and we improved the marketing, and boom, we are under contract in a matter of days. So this is something you still have to pay attention to. I've definitely got a great team that works with me to make these things or make these houses look amazing. And it absolutely does work. So if you are, again, interested in the market, it doesn't matter to me whether you're looking to do something right away or you're still a little further down the road, please feel free to reach out to me. I really don't mind the timelines, and I'm always here just to answer questions. I don't care if it's via Zoom, phone call, meet in person, whatever level of comfort you have. But I think getting you the right information and looking very carefully at your individual situation and property, that's what I do. And I hope to hear from you. All the best, and I'll see you next month.